Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here from simpleprogrammer.com, and today we're going to be talking about being a fucking coward. So I've got something I want to read to you from a book by Ryan Holiday called The Daily Stoic. Actually, I guess I should point this way. I think I should point this way. Maybe I have it backwards. You know what? I think it's this way. There we go. Somewhere around here. There we go. This looks good. This is probably good pointing. Let's point a little bit. All right. There we go. So anyway, it's called The Daily Stoic, and you should read it. I'll actually do a book review on this. I haven't done one yet. I just realized I finished it because it's like a daily thing that you read for Stoic, a daily devotional for Stoic philosophy, which is pretty good. All right. So this one was my favorite one, though, of all time. This was on December 11th. All right. And it is called Dignity and Bravery. And here's the quote. As Cicero says, "We hate gladiators if they are quick to save their lives by any means. We favor them if they show contempt for their lives." And that's from Seneca on Tranquility of the Mind, 11.4b. And then Ryan's commentary on this, he says, Lyndon Johnson's college classmates used to tell an embarrassing story about him. Johnson apparently had a big mouth and felt he had to constantly dominate and intimidate others. Yet, his biographer, Robert Caro, makes it clear that when someone stood up to young Lyndon, he proved himself to be a complete coward. In one instance, during an argument over a poker game, instead of fighting, Johnson threw himself on a bed and began kicking his feet in the air with a frantic windmilling motion, like a girl. He shouted, "If you hit me, I'll kick you. If you hit me, I'll kick you." Later in his life, Johnson also worked extremely hard to avoid serving in World War II and lived it up in California while other soldiers fought and died abroad. He later claimed to be a war hero. It was one of his most shameful lies. We do not need to disregard our physical safety or engage in wanton acts of violence to be brave, but nobody respects a coward. Nobody likes a shirker of duty. Nobody admires a person who puts too high a price on their own comfort and needs. That's the irony of cowardice. It's aimed at self-protection, but it creates shameful secrets. Self-preservation is hardly worth it because of everything it costs in return. Be brave, be dignified. So I thought this was really interesting. Often I get into arguments or debates with people about topics. Like I did this video on not avoiding conflict. That was the video I was thinking about, where I went and confronted some noisy neighbors of mine who were blaring music at 3 a.m. And a lot of people said, "Oh, that was dangerous, John. You don't know. You could have gotten shot. You could have gotten killed. They could have beat you up, right? You should just call the police. You don't need to go confront them. You don't need to go and prove you're a man," or all these things. And they made these points, okay? And some of these points, they sound valid, right? And I've heard this life philosophy espoused by a lot of people that says, you know what? Don't just run. When you know, as Morpheus said in The Matrix, when you see an agent, just run. You do like the rest of us do, kid. You just run. Or who said that? Was the traitor, the Judas guy in the Matrix. That's what he said. That's what he said. He said to Neo, he said, when you see an agent, you do like the rest of us do. You just run. Okay? And it's kind of interesting because I've seen people live their lives that way, right? And it makes sense logically, right? It makes sense logically when you're like, okay, you know what? I should favor self-preservation at all costs, right? You know, he who flees and runs away lives to fight again another day, right? Is that the quote? I don't know. I'm always bad with these things. But my point is that there's a lot of people that they espouse this philosophy of life that they say, look, here's the thing. You should essentially be a coward, right? They don't use the word coward, but they should say, you shouldn't get in confrontations with people. You should avoid any kind of violent situations. If someone has a gun, you give them your wallet. If someone threatens you, tries to mug you, you give them your wallet. You don't fight. You run away, right? If someone wants to get in a physical altercation with you at a bar, you disarm the situation and you walk away. You don't fight them. You don't stand up for yourself. If someone wants to do something to you or rob you or whatever it is, or whatever it is, okay? it's not worth it. Someone gets in road rage with you, just, stay in your car, don't do anything, or drive away, or apologize to them, or whatever it takes in order to, beg for your fucking life, right? This is the philosophy. This is the worldview, is beg for your fucking life, okay? And strategically, that makes sense. It makes sense, right? I mean, if you beg for your fucking life, if you're like, oh, whatever happens, I'm basically, all right, beg for my fucking life. That's the philosophy that I live my life by. If that's your philosophy that you live your life by, you're probably going to make it longer. Maybe you'll live to 100 as a fucking coward. See, that's the problem, is like, maybe you will live longer. Like, from a strategic standpoint, it makes a lot of sense. I've been tempted by that life. I've lived that life before, where I'm like, okay, I should avoid all dangerous things. I mean, I didn't fly in airplanes. I didn't go on roller coasters, right? I was afraid to live my life. I was afraid to do shit that could kill me, okay? And I justified it. It made sense from a life preservation strategy. It's like, well, why risk your life, right? It's better to run away and fight another day, except not fight, except I'll just run away again. I'll just keep on fucking running away. If I just keep on fucking running away, nothing bad can happen to me, and it maximizes the chance of me living a long life and not dying a painful and violent death. And it makes sense. Like I said, it makes perfect sense, except for this passage that I just read you, is that you have to live your life as a fucking coward. And that's the thing. It's like, nobody respects a coward, right? What is the quote at the beginning about the gladiators, right? I mean, these are people that are going to die, right? The gladiators, when they've lost, okay? Let me read you that quote again. And he says, as Cicero says, we hate gladiators if they are quick to save their lives by any means. We favor them if they show contempt for their lives, right? So imagine a gladiatorial fight, right? You imagine, gladiators. Or heck, you could look at MMA fighters, right, as modern day gladiators. Okay, you look in the gladiator arena. There's, this one gladiator, there's the other gladiator, and the one gladiator, you can tell he's just playing completely defensive. He's afraid to be there. He's not making any kind of moves that could possibly jeopardize, his position and get him killed, right? He's not aggressive. He's not attacking. He's just trying to survive. He'll eventually fucking die, okay? Probably, right? But no one cares. No one wants to see that shit. I mean, have you seen boxing matches where they just clench all the time, where they're just hugging? And you're like, what the fuck? Someone throw a punch. Stop hiding in the corner. Stop hugging the ring. Stop hugging the ropes, right? You want to see an actual fight. You want to cheer for someone, okay? That's how life is. And yes, you can avoid a lot of hits if you're a fearful person, if you're afraid to confront people, if you avoid any kind of violent situations, if you don't stand up for yourself, if you just beg for your life, okay? But you're going to have to be a coward. You're going to live a longer life, perhaps. Maybe not, because some people really have a contempt for cowards. Some people would do more violence to you, ironically, because you're a fucking coward. A bully will do that. I did this video on bullying, and I'll tell you what, it's not a good strategy for avoiding bullying. Giving a bully your lunch money all the time, okay, and conceding to them and begging them for mercy, does that fucking work? Or does that make it worse? It makes it worse, right? You know what I'm saying? So, yes, you could live your life using that strategy, the beg for your life strategy, that philosophy in life. And yes, you may have a longer expected outcome in your life, but you're going to be living it as a coward. You're going to be living it hiding under a rock. I don't want to live in fear. I don't want to live constantly hiding, constantly watching my back, constantly afraid of what's going to happen. I'd rather live life to the fullest, confront the fucking things that are in my way and whatever dangers that I may face, not foolishly. I'm not going to walk foolishly into danger or start violent situations for the sake of saying I'm not afraid of anything. But if someone comes to me and they confront me, I'm not going to fucking back down to them. Right? It's not because I have something to prove. It's because I have something to not fucking lose, which is honor and courage. Because I don't want to be a coward. You understand? And someday that could cost me my life. I'm fully aware of that. Plenty of people, it has cost them their life. And you might think that's a really fucking foolish decision, but is it? I mean, you look at that Lyndon Johnson example, right? With avoiding the war, avoiding World War II, avoiding the draft. A lot of good men died in World War II. A lot. Okay? And they could have not died. They could have made up some fucking fake illness, somehow avoided the draft, right? Just like a lot of people did. And what do you think about that? I mean, is it a foolish decision? Should they have all made the decision to pretend like they all had tuberculosis or something like that, or asthma? What would have happened then? I think Hitler would have been fucking laughing, right? Well, what would have happened? You understand what I'm saying? We have to have courage. We have to have brave men and women to stand up and defend the things that we believe in. Otherwise, we're just fucking cowards. Otherwise, we're just trying to survive, just beg for your life. That's not a way to live. And if you're living your life that way, it's not living your life, right? I've talked about in the past, you can check out this video or this talk I did on 5 soft skills every software developer should know, which is really about becoming uncomfortable and facing your fears. And in that, I talk about how I live my life. And I've told you guys this before, but I live my life in such a way that I was trying to protect myself physically, emotionally, spiritually, from everything that could harm me. And I basically lived like a coward. I basically lived under a rock, right? And I wasn't really living my life. It was like I was watching my life go by, but I was so risk averse, okay? And that I was not actually living my life. And because of that, it nullified. I might as well have been dead, right? So you got to make that choice. You got to make that choice, and you're going to be confronted with that choice in life. And unfortunately, some people are going to make that choice, and you may make that choice in your life, and it may cause you to die. It may cause you to die a violent death. I'm not being facetious here, and I'm not joking around. It's really true. But what is the alternative? The alternative is to live your life as a coward, knowing that you're a coward, knowing that you let fear master you, knowing that you don't actually believe or live for anything, and you would only seek self-preservation. And will the world judge you based on that? Yes. We judge people who beg for their lives. We judge people who do everything they can for self-preservation, right? We don't see them as honorable. We don't see them as respectful. We don't appreciate those people. We see them as cowards. And so, the question is not what is the most logical decision in order to increase your lifespan. The question is, do you want to be a fucking coward or not? That's all I got for you today. If you haven't subscribed already, click that subscribe button. Click the bell below to make sure you don't miss any videos. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.